What's up, Jet Nation? This is GreenBean trying to deal with this off-season lull, but there are a few subjects bubbling to the surface. We're going to talk about them when I come back. That's right, Jet Nation. This is GreenBean. Today I'm hanging out at the Madison River, a secluded site that not many people know about. I hang out here for some hours sometimes, and no one comes. A few people walking their dogs. It's just, there are docks, there are boats, but no one comes here. Point Pleasant is that way, and it's beautiful. I'm here in New Jersey for a couple of more days, maybe 3 more days, and I gotta say, it's been a good visit, partially because of all you guys. The Coney Island thing was amazing. The Jersey Shore Coaster Tour was amazing. Been to Great Adventure. Been all over the place. And I gotta say, I don't hate New Jersey anymore. It's been a good trip. The Northeast has done well by me this time, which is nice. But here we are. It's quiet here, and it's quiet for the most part in New York Jets land. We see some cool stuff with OTAs. Our voluntary workouts had the largest attendance in the league. That's a change. So you can see the direction that the New York Jets are moving tends to be trending toward the positive. Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, the new reporting structure with the head coach and the general manager, the new medical department, acquiring draft assets, using them on premium positions, 2 drafts in a row. We used our first-round pick, or one of our first-round picks, on offensive linemen. We used another first-round pick on a quarterback. Both of our second-round picks have been on wide receivers. One 6'3" with 4.38 speed and great hands. The other on an electric Tyreek Hill type of a player that can take it in from anywhere on the field. I think things are looking pretty good. And again, with the attendance, the attendance of our OTAs, voluntary workouts, man, this is a little different than we're used to. But there's a few subject lines that are kind of floating around the Jets. I saw some articles today saying that the Jets absolutely need to make a run at Julio Jones. As we all know by now, Julio Jones requested a trade. Atlanta has been seeking offers. And he was on the Shannon Sharp show, or whatever that show was. He was with Shannon Sharp, and he said that basically, I'm out of Atlanta, so it's over. Which is sad because, he's had a great career in Atlanta, and it's just one of those things. I view Julio Jones as an Atlanta Falcon, but such is life. We know how this league goes. He's out of Atlanta. But we're looking at a situation where the New York Jets have 2 firsts and 2 seconds next year to go along with 2 fifths and 3 sixths. So we have a nice chunk of draft capital. Don't forget the 3rd and the 7th too. We have no 4th. Oh, we do have a 4th. We have 1 4th too. We're doing all right. So we have all this draft capital, and there is a very strong voice right now saying that the Jets should be the team that grabs Julio Jones. Now, I have some thoughts on this one. One is, why? So why would we want to do that? The reason why would be to add one of the best receivers in the league to our team. We haven't had a receiver like Julio Jones in a very, very long time. Since Brandon Marshall for that 1 year, before him, maybe Braylon Edwards, and then Keyshawn Johnson, that type of stuff. So it's been few and far between that the Jets have had a receiver that even touches what Julio Jones is. But the negative side to that is he's had trouble staying on the field, guys. He has not been healthy for the most part the last couple of years, which is a problem. He's 32 years old, and his body is starting to betray him. Now, is he still one of the best receivers in the league? Absolutely. But you're talking about trading for a 32-year-old player who is clearly on the downswing. Maybe he comes back. Maybe these last 2 years or so were an anomaly, and he's healthy for the next 5 or 6 years. Maybe, but it doesn't look that way, so there's a risk involved. Now, the Atlanta Falcons we're talking about wanting a first-round pick in return. The last thing I would want to see is the Jets use one of these 2 firsts that they have in a 2022 draft on a 32-year-old receiver. It just doesn't compute to me. That's not what I'd like to see. Ultimately, I think they'll probably end up taking a second, maybe a second and some change, 2nd and a 5th kind of a thing. Again, would we want to see one of our 2 seconds for next year used on a 32-year-old receiver. Now, the way you could look at this, and I've heard this, something similar to this by the contingent that seems to be supportive of a trade for Julio Jones, it's that wouldn't you have traded Sam Darnold for Julio Jones, a fourth and a sixth? Yeah, when you look at it that way, I'd say, yeah, that's a good way to spin it. Sounds real nice. Sam Darnold for Julio Jones, a fourth and a sixth round pick. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It should be flip-flopped if you're looking at it the right way, right? In realistic terms. But I don't think it's that cut and dry. Now, what Joe Douglas has obviously been doing is kind of trimming the fat with the older, bloated contract type of guys. He has put a large amount of effort into getting younger, acquiring draft assets, and building the team around a young nucleus, a young core. I think even the Sam Darnold thing had a little bit to do with that. Not that Sam Darnold is old, but where he is in his contractual lifetime is that he's at a place where you have to commit money to him, and it's just that's not where Joe Douglas is. He was able to flip that for a quarterback and reset the rookie pay scale with a quarterback. So it doesn't look like the type of move that Joe Douglas is going to do, and I support that. The main reason being this: we have a core nucleus of young players, specifically at the wide receiver position. This is the first year in the longest time that we have a wide receiver core that could honestly be top 15 to start, okay? We have Corey Davis as our, penciled in number one. You have Denzel Mims, who I think is going to blow the league open. One of my favorite receivers in the draft that he came out in. You have Elijah Moore, again, Tyreek Hill type, electric, shifty, fast as hell, great hands, can be used in sweeps and as a running back and all over the place, slot, out wide. Then you have guys like Keelan Cole. You have guys like Jamison Crowder. And then you even have guys like Vincent and Jeff Smith, who last year were our starters. Okay, they're way down 5th, 6th, 7th receiverville. And then you got guys like DJ Montgomery and obviously Braxton Berrios fighting for the bottom end. Now, when you bring a player like Julio Jones in, what that does essentially is it pushes everybody down a peg. So now the guys on the bottom end of the roster, the Keelan Coles, the Vincent and Jeff Smith, they're out. So you don't get to use a player that would be not only fill a wide receiver position, but would also fill a special teams position. And you want to be developing a pipeline. Julio Jones at the end, what are you getting, 2-3 years, whatever it is? You get him. Now he pushes Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, all those guys down. And then you don't get to see players that you're trying to groom that should be on the roster, because you need wide receivers and defensive backs to fill out the special teams unit. You need it. It's just as important as anything else. Okay? So bringing in Julio Jones, number one, goes against everything Joe Douglas has done. Number two, you're really using draft capital that honestly is needed the next year and the next 2 years. We need our draft capital to support this team, develop our pipeline, and really support the last 2 years' draft picks. Okay? Zach Wilson. Number three, it's taking time away from guys that you're trying to develop, and then there's the money and all that. So in my honest opinion, I don't think it's a smart move. I really don't. If we did it, would I hate it? Of course not. Having Julio Jones on the team, who doesn't love that just on paper? Who doesn't love that? Of course. But it's not a move I'd like to see the Jets make. Guys, we're not trying to go to the Super Bowl this year. This is the end of the foundational build. Julio Jones, with all respect, is window dressing at this moment. We have receivers. You want to see what Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and Denzel Mims can do. You want to see them in starting roles. You don't want to push them down a peg so Julio Jones can be the focal point of the offense. I just don't see it. And I don't think it's going to happen, thankfully. That's my take on that. Another one, quickly, is Melvin Ingram. Now, another area of focus for Joe Douglas this past offseason has been the defensive line. Let's take a look at our defensive line as it stands now. You got Carl Lawson as our written-in defensive end starter. Then you got Quinnen Williams and Sheldon Rankins as the interior of the four-man line, which we're going to be installing. Then you have the left side. So we brought in Vinny Curry as that rotational depth piece. Okay? The leader. He's very effective in a rotational role. You have him in there. But then you have young guys like Huff, like Jabari Zuniga. You got these guys there like John Franklin Myers. You want to see what you have in those guys. You bring in a guy like Melvin Ingram. He's basically the same role as Vinny Curry. Maybe he's a little bit more impactful. That's possible. But again, I don't see Joe Douglas. I don't think it's the wise move to bring in yet another aging defensive lineman. It just doesn't compute to me. I saw an article, I forget who wrote it, bringing us back to the year that we passed on Melvin Ingram in the draft for Quentin Coples. I get it. Quentin Coples has been out of the league for 5 or 6 years, and Melvin Ingram has been to the Pro Bowl a handful of times. So clearly that was a mistake. But trying to go back and double down on a mistake from 10 years ago doesn't seem like the wise position to me. So I don't think we should be grabbing Melvin Ingram either. So guys like Julio Jones and Melvin Ingram, I just don't see the Jets. I don't see them going for, and in my humble opinion, I don't think it's the way that we should be going. I'm quite enjoying this youth movement that the Jets are involved in right now. So what do you think? You think we should sign Julio Jones? Is the allure, is the bright lights too much to ignore? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. And guys, even in this lull, in this off-season lull, guess which place is as vibrant as ever? JetNation.com. Guys, I popped in there this morning. There's 1,000 conversations going on in there. Hundreds of posts an hour. It's like it never sleeps. If you're tired of Jets Twitter or just all settling down for you, you want to head over to JetNation.com. The Jets talk quite honestly never stops. So don't forget, you can follow my full-time coaster tour. We are about to leave New Jersey. I got Dorney Park and Sesame Place this weekend, and then we're heading to the Northeast, Six Flags New England, and all kinds of lake compounds and Rye Playland, all kinds of places. If you want to keep up with that, go to YouTube and hit and type in full-time coaster tour in the search bar. That'll take you to our YouTube page there, or you can always go to fulltimecoastertour.com as well. And don't forget my YouTube page as GreenBean Jets fan. That's where my live streams are and stuff like that. I'm happy to have your involvement. Every Thursday we do the Thursday Thick of It at 8 p.m. Guys, I hope you're having a great off season. Let me know what you think of these subjects. Don't forget,